Hello, this is Malorian, and this will be a 2,500 point game in my Ogre Kingdoms against Beastmen. So yes, it's true. I do own some Ogre Kingdoms. Uh, I've been really dying to use this list for a long time, and unfortunately I don't usually find people that want to even play against it. What it is, basically, for 2,500 points is two hordes of 24 bulls with Iron Fist and a banner, a horde of 18 Iron Guts with a banner, and then just a level 2 Butcher with a scroll. Done. That's it. Um, on my opponent's side here, he's going to be running his Beastmen. At first, I'd hoped he was going to be doing his Ogre Kingdoms, but he changed his mind last second because his Ogre Kingdoms are all packed up, so we won't have a fat guy battle. But the mission we got was all just the random deployment, so I really didn't like that because it can really mess up my deployment, and it got even worse when all of a sudden I rolled a 1 and a 2 for two of my major units. So I'm completely spaced out. It's a worst case situation, and we're just going to have to try and deal with it. So here's a close-up of his line, and what he basically has is on the left he has his bunker, and in there he has his level 4 and his level 2. The spawn there is actually a Razor. He has a chariot, 3 Minotaurs. The corpse cart is actually going to be a stand-in for a Razor chariot. He forgot his. Then he has a big unit of Gore there, an even bigger unit of Gore that has his Beast Lord and his BSB, another chariot, and then another Razor. So, looking at this, I know some stuff can kind of hit me hard, but I'm pretty sure I can just completely overpower it. The only thing I'm worried about is the unit on the right, because I know that BSB is going to be having the banner where they're all +1 strength, and his, Beast Lords are always really tough, so I'm just going to have to deal with it. The one thing I really like is the fact that his bunker got separated on the left. So if I can get in there fast and get the charges I like, I can be wiping out his magic right away, going after his middle Gore, which I don't know why he went for just 8 wide instead of a normal horde, and then just hopefully maybe being to double team the far right horde with the Beast Lord. It could just be that my far right horde is just going to stand there and wait just to make sure that his unit has to pause while I deal with the left flank. So he had first turn and he pushed up. The big thing that I didn't like looking at this was the fact that my butcher can't hide in that tower in there anymore because those Minotaurs might be jumping him. But he actually goes a Pit of Shade, my left unit, so I had to burn my scroll right away, so that's already gone. So on my turn, this is where we started to call this game the game of fail. It started off here where my Iron Guts declared a charge on his middle Gore there. So I only needed an 8, but I failed it. So whatever, that's the way it goes. On the far left, I'm just pushing up. My Butcher has the Toughness spell and also the Panic one. So I came over here so that I could first try to add some Toughness to my Iron Guts and then try and panic his bunker off because they're so far away from the General and the BSB. But I failed to cast the first spell. Guess I got greedy, didn't get a chance to cast the second one. Over on this side here, he's playing it smart. He brings over the Razor so that it's speed bumping me. And just adding to the game of fail, his Minotaurs and the big Gore unit both try and charge my Iron Guts, and both of them failed. I think the Minotaurs only needed a 5, and even they couldn't do it. And so the end of his turn looks like this. You can see he brought his Razor around on the right side. Pretty sure that's just a bait. Otherwise, his magic phase was a complete bust. Again, the game of fail. And let's see what I get to do. So I declare all my charges on my turn. So I have my big horde on the right that's going into his Beast Lord's unit. My Iron Guts were supposed to be going into his middle Gore unit, but I failed my 5+ or whatever it was to get in there. And on the left, of course, my left horde has to destroy that Razor before they can go onto the bunker. And end of my turn looks like this. So the Razor, of course, had no chance. This time he used his scroll to shut down my magic phase. And then on the right, I just tore him apart. I won by a whole bunch, but it turns out that his general actually has a Crown of Command. So That's really going to cause a lot of trouble because now I basically can't get out of there until he kills his characters. So uh, that's not a fight I really want to be in. His turn 3, he charges in here with his Minotaurs and his Gores, and this is when I learned that these Gore are actually converted Besta Gores. So this is going to hurt. And on the other combat, his Razor hits into the flank, so he'll have 2 more combat res going to him for this. So end of his turn, it looks like this. Let's start off with the main thing at the top. So his bunker, the mages inside decide that they don't want to be dealing with this anymore. So they go to leave the unit. He first tries to cast the Wysands Wild Form on his Beast Lord's unit, and I stopped that one. But the problem was that this was a 12 power dice magic phase for him. So after that, he's able to make it so that my Iron Guts are -2 strength and -2 toughness. I am completely screwed. The only good thing is that from that, he miscast and killed his level 4. So that really helps. Of course, in that combat, I just got owned. But the funny thing is that when I broke, he decided to only charge me with the Minotaur. So I thought, well, that's kind of silly. He's only going to roll 1d6. Well, I only got a 3 for my flea, and I thought, well, okay, I might as well take him off. Well, no, he rolled a 2. So my Iron Guts live, thank God. His Beastigores go to look at the flank of my other unit, and I know that I'm going to be stuck there because of the crown. So I was really looking here just to try and get something. So I dedicate a lot of my attacks to going as BSB, a complete flop. I don't do a single thing. I don't do enough wounds from other stuff, and in the end, I break and I'm ran down. So, this game is just starting to fall apart right now. So on my turn, my horde on the left charges his bunker. He decides to flee. I redirect into the chariot. Now when the unit fled, they fled just perfect so that they were just before the edge. When they were doing that, they ran over his shaman, which failed his panic, but he only ran just enough so that he wouldn't jump over the unit. So he's just right there. You know, if I get lucky, maybe they'll run off, but as it is right now, I'm getting no points. And then, of course, I needed a 10 to get to the chariot and failed that. Otherwise, my Iron Guts rally and my shaman jumps up into the tower, and my magic phase doesn't do anything. Beastman turn 4. He doesn't do any charges. His one shaman runs off the board, but the bunker rallies. The Minotaur runs to my left. The Bestigore reformed to be 5 wide, and everything else is just swinging towards me. So then on my turn 4, I realized that my one big chance was that if I could punch through the Bestigores, then I could escape all these units encircling me, kill off some of these smaller support units, and pull off a tie or a minor victory. I needed my left unit to try and get in there. They failed the charge. So it's just my Iron Guts against the Bestigores. I used my mage to get them +1 toughness, but now it's my turn to miscast and automatically die. So that's horrible. Both of us have lost all of our magic now. And then in combat, I just destroy him. I destroy everyone except for 5 models. He passes on double 1s. So what can you do? I'm stuck here. I'm going to get some charges now, but it's looking bleak. So here they come. I got a Minotaur on my left, a Rezigor on my right, and a Rezigor chariot. So tons of combat res for him. And you know, it was kind of funny because I went and I made sure to kill the Bestigores, got the points, and it's like, hey, look at that. You know, I may have lost, but I'm steadfast because I at least have 1 rank, you have 0. Yeah, of course, I failed my steadfast and got ran down. So now it's all up to this one last horde to try and get something. So my turn 5, my unit there was able to charge the Minotaur, who couldn't flee because he's immune to psych, killed him, and overran to here. I hoped to actually get into his chariots to kill it, but didn't quite go far enough. Now on his turn 6, I thought this was kind of odd because what I would have done was left one of these small units just to be standing there, say like the Razagor, so that's all the points I can catch, right? I can kill him, I can overrun, but there'll be no more turns for me. What he does is actually reform his Gore unit to be smaller, and then moves his Razagor chariot and his Razagor out of the way. So it's going to be one last big fight. So that's what we have here, the last big fight, and I really had to think whether I wanted to go at the characters or at the unit. And that's when I realized that's why he let me here, because unless I completely destroy him, he's just going to be steadfast and hold, and I'll get 0 points instead of the, whatever points from the Razagore. So it actually turned out to be a really smart move on his part. And in the end, what I decided to do was just to target the unit. I killed them exactly, which was fantastic. Got some points there. But of course, he's doing it on a stubborn leadership 9 rerolled holds. So I don't get any of the character stuff. So when we add it all up, I had some high hopes that maybe I clawed it back to a tie. Turns out it wasn't enough. If the bunker would have ran off or something, then it would have really been there, but no, just wasn't enough. I lost too many points, didn't get enough in return, and there you go. So a victory to the Beastmen. Some things here, I just actually like this list. I know some people out there just hate seeing these big block armies, but you know what? The nice thing about them is that they're fun to play because they're so straightforward. It's just go out there, smash something in the face, and just go. Of course, if you were to do this all the time, it get really boring. You want to bring back in some finesse so you can have more fun. But, now and then, it's just fun just to pull out an army of just 3 massive hordes and just wham! And just see how much stuff you can destroy, right? Because each of these units is packing out 3 times 6 times 3 attacks. It's just huge. 42 attacks, whatever it is. So lots of fun just to roll all those dice, and anyone out there who has an ogre army and has enough bulls to even proxy this, just give it a try because it's lots of fun. So thanks for watching. Bye.